Alright then guys, so game 2 in this 4-game series. We just saw Ian have a pretty close game, but he kind of put on a display, like an example of like why EGX is so bad, so it's crippling. Ejecting 6 times, getting ejected 6 times to divisions just 1. Yeah, which is ultimately the reason why that game went as it did. We're looking at game 2, Ice Ice Baby. Just gonna hurry this up. Oh, that was a bit too far. Ian went with the cheeky lander strat, cheeky lander, which is interesting to say the least. Good on Division for allowing it. That could have been a nasty game, but actually, as it went, it was quite a rough one for Ian. So we're gonna break down what exactly happened and why, and hopefully a bit of fun in the process. For the memes, absolutely for the memes. When in doubt, embrace the meme. So here we go. Very passive start from Ian again. I think maybe he's just trying to minimize his like lost chances, like minimize the chance that he loses, but very passive both games. Maybe just wants to put the feelers out and see where Division stands in his starter. Yeah, I mean, like tactically right now, you really want to be out there in the tank, but it's for the memes. That's alright. It's all good. It's all good. Indeed, signal Craig adds him on the Eagle Lander. Get the old craze out. So let's just hop through this a little bit. He's gonna get into a scout. He's gonna play the lander like as a defensive super unit. Sadly, it doesn't really do much. Spoiler. That's a spoiler there. It doesn't really get much done, but it's all good. Okay. So I did notice a lander memes assigned. Aside from the lander, there's a lot of time wasted in this start that really cost Ian the game. It's like, how much time's already been? It's already been like 2 minutes, and he's just getting on the side channel scrap. So Ice Ice Baby, you've got your 3 geysers in a nice compact base area. And then you've got your side channel for the scrap. You've got your long sort of valley of scrap. You want to get on that as quick as you can. And crucially, in a 1v1 on this map, the vacant spawn is so important. Whoever can get that scrap gets 2/3 of the map scrap, 66%, and it's very hard as the player who gives that up to win. You're not out the game, but you really are in a tough situation when someone has that, because they can just upgrade their units, they can get howitzers, they can get everything. And we're gonna see here now the first mistake of this game. Well, aside from fucking around with the lander and taking a lot of time, the first kind of major strategic mistake here. Again, I'm not trying to insult. Ian's a really good player. He's getting up to the high level now, so he just needs to iron out these little things, and he'll be in S tier in no time. I'm sure of it. But yeah, I'm hoping you guys spotted it by now. Scavs are going back to the recycler. When he's about to get a silo, he's only on 3 scrap. He's actually got, I just noticed this now, he's actually got to wait for 1 scav to deposit so he can build the silo. He's only got 3, he needs 4. Yeah, there's a little error there, a little tactical error. Just keep the 4 ready, keep the scrap ready for the silo. Right now, your scavs need to be here with the build, with the silo build, and then collecting. It's a lot of time wasted. It's like 3 minutes into the game almost now. If Division wanted to rush you, if you wanted to just like balls to the wall rush it, it'd be here already, and it'd be over. You'd be dead already. If you wanted to rush, it'd be all over now. So yeah, rough start. Not a good sign for the rest of this game, unfortunately. These scouts need to be at the silo now, and they're just here. So now Ian's gonna check for DBZ. He's gonna try and find DBZ. He's gonna try and work out if he's got the vacant spawn, which he has. Now I'm not sure exactly where Division started. I think he started at the other spawn we've not seen yet. I think he's just come over here to the vacant one. I'm not sure exactly, but it doesn't really matter because ultimately we do see that Division does hold both. He does hold both spawns. He does control both of them. So DBZ has 2/3 of the scrap on the map, and it's a bit of a mountain to climb for the player that concedes the vacant spawn. So I believe this is the vacant spawn, although you can't really tell. I don't think there's really a moment you can tell. I didn't spot it. The Division's already strong. He's already in a great position. He's got his army. He's got 2/3 scrap map scrap, should I say? Excuse me. And he's just gonna play it safe. He's found Ian. Just gonna wait. And yeah, we can get through this game pretty quick because it didn't really go too well, unfortunately for Ian. What he's doing now is he's come over to the other spawn, which I believe is the I can't tell which I think Division. He has to tell me what he did because I'm not sure. I think he spawned here and then he moved. He got the silo up and then he moved over to the other spawn with his production units, I think. But we'll have to hear from him what he did. Good start, by the way. Yeah, whoever gets the vacant spawn is in a great position to win. And if you can, the perfect strat would be to deploy, silo, immediately move to the vacant spawn, collect it, get an army, and then move back to your spawn. That would be the perfect way to set up on ice. That's what you want to go for. That's the ideal play. But obviously it has risks. Notice now that all the scrap here has already been taken. All the scrap here has already been recovered. So this isn't necessary. This is not. You don't need to do this. Like, what are you going to gain? He hasn't got scavengers with him. He hasn't got a silo with him. He's not going to recover this. He knows that Division is roaming around with a big army. Division recycling his scavs. Good move. If you have scavengers working a field, and the field's being attacked, you can recycle your scavs and minimize your losses and reduce the amount of scrap that you're giving away. So that's a good move there. So just little things to remember. If you're about to lose a sort of scav collection area, you can recycle them and they'll bank what they have and they will recycle for no loss. So that's a very smart play there from Division. Just minimize the losses. And red on radar, those of you who are very observant of you will notice something's about to go down. There it is. DBZ has come around, so he knows that Ian's there. He doesn't know for sure, but it's very likely that the person hitting his scavs was Ian himself. Yeah, you could actually bake that out. You could send a scout to do that, and then DBZ would come around, assuming you're away. But as it happens, it was Ian who moved around there, and so DBZ is gonna go in and attack based on the knowledge that Ian is not at home. He's not there to do anything. And as we all know, AI without a commander is really weak, really easy to destroy a 10-unit army with no leader, with no commander. It's very easy. It's all to do with unit control. This is why unit control is so important, because like you can be a player with 6 units and you will win a fight against 10 units because there's just no commander to keep them optimal. I will do a video explaining like what you can do as a commander to keep units doing the most damage and being the most effective, but yeah, there's a lot to it. Okay, so yeah, around 6 or 7 minutes in, Division goes to the base when Ian is away. And he's going to suffer heavy losses. it is a bit of a tactical fuck up here, because what did you gain from that on the scavs? Nothing. You're not going to recover it. You've got no ammo, or little ammo, and you just lost your forces. And DBZ, oh, I don't think he really lost any. I think he may have lost 1 or 2 units. So yeah, that was something like this. I think I'm just looking at the scoreboard now, just trying to factor in the scavenger kills. I think we've got 2 on the silo. So it's like a 4-1. Ian lost 4, Division lost 1, something like that. It went really well for Division. And now it's just impossible, because not only does DBZ have 66% of the map scrap, he now has cleared Ian of his army. So it's already GG, unfortunately. Such is the nature of Ice Baby. Bang! Go for the snipe. It is the move. This is the move to make. If you hit, then you have a chance back in the game. But it does not hit. DBZ showing a little bit of good sportsmanship here, respect. He could have shot him out of the spawn. I mean, it's strategy. The goal is to win, so I would just shoot him. But respect to DBZ for at least sort of giving that olive branch and saying, no, just try and recover. I'll wait for you. No hard feelings. He pulls back. Good man. Big moment here, crucial. Look at that, perfect pause. Offensive list. That is 8 units. That is basically a full army. And just I'm gonna like not comment for a minute. Just watch what he does with his units. He's got a complete army. He's got plenty of units to do something. But instead, he will do this.
Recycler here. Construction started. On your tail. Razor here. Unit complete. Building complete. On your tail.
Warning. Damage critical.
Time to kill.
Unit lost.
Ready
Offensive
to build.
unit
Yes,
lost.
sir. Building.
Scavenger lost.
Copy, Pico. I'm on it. Recycler here. Closing in.
Scavenger
In combat.
lost.
Recycling.
Offensive
Recycler here.
So I think the rationale here is because on Ice Baby you cannot advance your production units. There's no guises beyond the bases. I think Ian's thinking, if I can just bring down his numbers, even if I lose a lot of mine, I can just get on the scrap, and DBZ cannot contest, because at some point DBZ has to fall back and recover and replace his units. But remember, he did get 2/3 of the scrap. He did get so much scrap in the start that he probably can just keep spamming units, and just as long as he holds his ground with like 1 or 2 tanks, he can just wait for more to arrive. So I totally get the decision. I think that's Ian's thinking behind it. Just throw him at him. But it's not the move. It's not the move to make, because look at the scrap. There's even scrap in your base. It's just on the doorstep. It's really close. You just want to get your units, all 8, get them with you, follow close, and just hold them back. Just hold the line. Hold the line on the scrap. Like, again with the mouse. Just hold around here. Don't let him come closer. Get a silo going. And you're back in the game. But as it goes, yeah, he's down to 4. He's down to 3. Scavs are getting torn up. Even Division scavs are there. He's not even built anything, and his scavs are there recovering. I wasn't a fan of this. Is Ian's constructor? He sent it out to make a silo, but he's putting the silo outside his base. Now again, I don't mean to be critical, but like, how do you expect to protect it? How do you expect that to do anything? DBZ is already outside. He's still got units left. It's not gonna work if you place it there. It needs to be further in your base, like just when I'm again with the mouse, just somewhere like here in the entrance, or even back a bit, like at the wall. Yeah, it's just not gonna work, unfortunately. DBZ has too much advantage. He has too much, too much to play with. The area that you control is very much determined on how much strength you have. So if you're really beaten down, you have to give up all the space and just play with what you can afford to control. And yeah, that silo is gonna go down straight away. And I think, let's have a look at the numbers there. 13 scrap from 1. So he gets 2 deposits, I think. Give or take. The silo barely even pays for itself. Would have been a lot better if the silo was back here. Landers here. What does it do? Sadly, not a lot. The rave gun does not have the air burst that the rocket bomb does. So AI using rave gun does not really do anything. It just sort of like misses, and yeah, at least a player in a lander can fire at the ground and do the splash damage. And it has like no hull at all. So the silo placement was like the last opportunity to recover. Unfortunately, he put it way too far out in no man's land. This is no man's land. Ian does not control this. It's not under his control. So you can't afford to put a silo there. It's just not going to work. And yeah, that will be game 2, pretty much. That will be game 2. So I have a little summary here, just sort of wrap things up while I sort of explain. Division won this game because number 1, Ian invited him over. It was an invitation to DBZ to come and attack because he was on the other side of the map fighting, destroying that silo. That was number 1. You were away. Number 2, your offensives. Well, that sounds bad. I don't know your offensives, but well, I don't want to be polite. Ian, your offensives were left exposed on their own, too far from base. So yeah, they're just gonna die. And so what I would have done is just pull them back to the recycler. Have your units defending recycler, because if DBZ wants to attack, he has to go so far into your base that if his attack doesn't work, and he has to sort of hold back, all that scrap's going to be on your doorstep. It's going to be right on your recycler, and then you're good to go. Then you can get the APCs out and spam, because the scrap's on top of you. So if you do make a move like that, you are in control of where the scrap ends out, like where it starts to be placed, based on where you have your units. So you could have just brought them back and just play within the base, which probably would have worked out better. Yeah, number 3, not quick enough with the silo and the scav, and you place it way too far outside your zone of control. And number 4, you didn't sort of really consolidate your forces. When I said I was just going to go quiet for a minute and like let the game play out, you sort of chucked them out one by one, like solo deaths. Just bring them back, consolidate your forces, form a defensive line, establish a line that DBZ cannot cross, and once he starts crossing into it, then you start punishing him. And you just keep your numbers. Just hold on to your units. Hold on to them. As long as you have an army, you have a chance to win. As soon as you lose your army, you're giving up your hand. You're losing up your play. And lastly, the solo APC drop-in is not going to do anywhere near as much as a solo tank DMing. Yeah, it's just my personal opinion. I don't like when people pilot APC, because any player who knows what he's doing, if he thinks it through and just like plans, he will just destroy the soldiers immediately. I mean, you can see DBZ plays with bombers. He's a bomber player. Well, as in he uses bombers strategically, which is smart. So it's not going to work with APC really. It's not going to do much. It might do something, but yeah, he's sort of adapting to Ian's play by using bombers, and tanks are like a direct counter to bombers, or scouts, especially scouts really tear bombers up. So as a result, you'd probably want to start DMing more in your tank, just destroy those bombers. Because we saw in the previous game, Heroes of War, like I mentioned, the bomber hitbox is huge. They're so easy to destroy as a player. So just do that, just DM, just hold on to life with DM. I've won games just because I've got one tank, and I'm DMing with the tank. In my video on, I think it was Net Scrap Game, yeah, Net Scrap Game, I showed in the background a game I had Vivify on the Compass, and I survived, and I actually won that game because I was just DMing till the death. I was just holding on, DM the tank, switch into a new fresh tank, DM, get the scavs out, and eventually, because I just held on, Vivify eventually kind of just, giving me the scrap. Like I ended up just like taking it because it was so close to me, and he went for a few sort of glory snipes, and it didn't really pay off. But yeah, just trust in your tank DM. You could knock out all 5 of those units, or well, yeah, a few of them with just a tank. It can happen. And if they drop scrap close, then you can recover it, and then you can get new tanks up, and you can sort of recover. You can sort of build like a recovery from there. But yeah, a bit of a shaky game. Ice Ice Baby's pretty unforgiving because of the scrap placement and the lack of geysers. But yeah, GG either way, despite that. Okay.